Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to In Defense of the Hays Code. I am, as always, your host, Ellis Womack. This is my co-host, Zach Anderson, and today we are joined by a guest co-host, a friend of ours, friend of the channel, an actual friend of the channel. Not one of the, oh, hey, here's an actor that pops up every once in a while, but like I said, guest co-host, Cage Davidson. Cage, say hi.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Sorry, say hi again. I think I talked over you. Just go.
Ellis, if we're going to be doing this for a whole hour, you just let's get on with it. Dude. I mean, come on. Hey, I'm Cage Davidson. Happy to be here.
All right. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually covering two landmarks in this episode. Not only is this our first episode with a guest co-host, this is our first time covering a proper film noir. For those of you that were here for the Maltese Falcon episode, I described it as proto-noir, pre-noir, but this is an actual, honest-to-goodness film noir. Today, we are covering 1947's Kiss of Death with Victor Mature and Richard Widmark. So, without further ado, since there really aren't any, there's no actors that we've talked about before that are here, gentlemen, thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Don't everyone talk at once.
So, So when I first got asked to be on this, I was like, got to watch a black and white movie. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be a waste of time. However, when I sat down and started, I guess things start off a little bit slow, but the movie quickly picks up. And I, at the end of it, I realized, I really just sat there and realized, and I was talking to my dad about it. And I was like, I really actually enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was really good. I thought it was well written. I thought the acting was good. I thought the dialogue was all good. I mean, it was a really good movie. So I'd recommend it to those listening and watching.
I really want to call you out because it starts out a little bit slow. It starts with a jewelry store robbery.
Oh, it does. Yeah. But no, you know what I mean?
It does,
like,
but
Yeah.
I agree. Like, even
Let me say this. Go
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, it does start with a jewelry store robbery, but like, there's a few punches thrown and they put some jewelry in a bag.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very quick interaction there. Like in a movie today, there'd be a whole lot more action there. And then there's so much time shown just them standing in an elevator going up and them coming down. So you could say it starts slow, but it doesn't, but it kind of does.
That was such a tense moment in the elevator. I was like, oh, given my well-known fear of elevators, that was a little intense. Zach, I think you were trying to say something. Catch up.
Well, I was agreeing with Cage that it starts off slow, as in like it's very suspenseful. There's not, it's not Public Enemies where they come in with Tommy guns, and that's that kind of bank robbery. It is a bank robbery or a jewelry store robbery, but at the same time, it's like so low key, and the way that the elevator scenes, I love that there's a mirror on the back of it. They're in the Empire State Building, right?
I know it's in New York, but I don't know if they're in the Empire State Building.
I've been in the Empire State Building, and I was like, hey, I think that's that place. Y'all can look it up for trivia later.
It might very well have been. They filmed everything on location, essentially.
That's what it said at the beginning. Yeah, I picked up on that as well.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. Especially like with the jail scenes.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, word. That's a giant jail. But yeah, it did start out kind of like Hitchcock, like not sure the pace. Hitchcock isn't not sure the case, but it's suspenseful. It doesn't show a lot of detail as far as like just like modern day horror movies. Like you're gonna see everybody get chopped up.
Yeah.
Whereas like Hitchcock makes you use your imagination, and that's usually worse. Our imaginations are usually worse. But so yeah, with the suspense at the beginning, and like you're seeing them even walk towards the door. For some reason, I was pulling for the bank robbers. What about y'all?
I mean, at that point, they were really the only named characters with faces. So
there seemed, and obviously it kind of it's. I mean, it's given away later in the movie, I guess, or it's implied. But it's crime with a purpose. So yeah, I'll yeah,
yeah.
That's
true. That's true.
That doesn't make it right, but it makes it kind of relatable, if you will. I don't know.
Now, it's funny that we're talking about how it starts with a robbery, because a more modern, I would say, film noir starts with a robbery. And that entire film noir is why I picked this movie for you to watch with us, Cage. Because I know how much you love The Dark Knight. We've discussed this.
It's a good piece of film, yes.
And I know, ladies and gentlemen, we don't often talk about newer films on this old film podcast. I may have called heresy before, but I'm bridging a gap here. But the entire reason why I picked this movie for you was the Joker that never was, Richard Widmark.
Yeah, I saw that picture you sent, and then after I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do the voice, but I'm not. So
no,
yeah, he's like a precursor to the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say reminiscent, but this movie came first.
Yeah, because but yeah, no, because you were talking about how it starts off slow, and I could sort of agree with that. And then, like I said, Richard Widmark's Tommy Udo just comes to the scene giggling.
Yeah, he's an idiot. I mean, not really. I mean, but he's like, oh, like
yeah.
Super... Hey, dude, like, be quiet. Seriously.
yeah. So, like, there's like thugs and villains, and then there's like this sociopath, and it's like, okay, that's the guy I really don't want to hang out with.
Tommy Udo is like if Eddie Haskell was a crime committer. Like, if Eddie Haskell was in the mob, that's him. Like, hi, Mr. Cleaver. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that just gave off Eddie. It gave off Eddie vibes. I'm not gonna lie, but
Eddie vibes. Yes. All right. And he's throwing it back to old school TV. Mm-hmm. Let's go.
I love Leave It to Beaver. That's a great show.
To be fair, and this is as deep as I'll go into spoilers, I believe. Eddie Haskell never shoved a woman in a wheelchair down a flight of stairs.
We'll get to that later, but Eddie might as well have.
No.
It's kind of like when Eddie grew up, he might have done that. Like Mrs. Cleaver, she mouthed off one too many times.
And funnily enough, this was Richard Widmark's first film role ever.
Okay, tell me who he was in the movie.
Tommy Udo.
Okay, gotcha.
So that was his first film role, and literally everybody wanted somebody else to play the role. They kept trying to oh no, we want this guy, and thankfully enough people got there was some pushback, but then he ended up getting the role, and I don't think it would have been the same with anybody else.
Yeah. He was very, very distinct because it wasn't the Joker character, but it was kind of like, okay, so in the first Batman movie, it was like Jack before he became the Joker. It's like there was something off about him the whole time. But you could definitely see this guy eventually falling into a vat of acid.
Oh yeah. If he hadn't been arrested and had the movie could have ended with him falling into a vat of acid, and I'd been like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Joker origin story. Better than some we've had. Yes, I'm taking shots.
Whoa. All right.
But
Okay, so yeah, it starts off with the jewelry store robbery. He doesn't get very far.
No, he doesn't.
And it goes back, and Ellis, we've talked about this before, just the gangster code, like of there was an idea, and it's been dramatized. Is that a word? Anyway, over the years of like that, all the gangsters were gentlemen and like businessmen and that kind of thing, but also that they wouldn't tell on each other.
Right.
Don't be a stool pigeon.
Yeah, they'll kill you for that.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's how it works in real life too. So,
right, yeah.
Not speaking
Nowadays,
from experience, but
Wheelers.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, snitches get stitches isn't new. And in England they say stitches end up in ditches, which I think is closer to real life. Anyway, yeah, so him and the DA, I think, had a very interesting dynamic throughout the whole movie. Like, I was not expecting to see that guy keep popping up.
Oh yeah. The DA is played, ladies and gentlemen, by actor Brian Donlevy, who I have seen personally in several other film noir. He's a very good actor, as was evidenced by the movie. You know me, I sometimes like pointing out certain things. Near to the end of the movie, when things have happened, and Bianco, which I don't think any two actors in that film pronounced his last name the same way.
Oh, really? I didn't notice
Bianco. It's just like, okay. But when he opens the door with the gun and you just see, the DA character kind of stumble backwards, that felt like such a genuine reaction.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did, because yeah. So when that scene was happening, I was like, okay, obviously who they are saying is or making us think is coming up to the door. I was like 50-50. I was like, and I audibly said, man, don't shoot, that could be a cop.
Yeah.
And nobody was there. I'm just a little but it was, so I semi called that would happen. But when the door opened and that guy saw a gun pointed at him, there was like a look of genuine fear. And I appreciated the way that guy took that.
Yeah, it was quite a twist. Because I was under the impression that, oh, Tommy's coming to do some dirty work, if you will. Then when he opened the door, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Because, I mean, yeah, I guess you weren't expecting him to stick around, but I mean, he kind of had a constant presence throughout because, and I guess we'll lead back to this theme in a little while, but like that first meeting between Nick and the district attorney, or the assistant district attorney, because I believe he was an assistant.
He was.
Yeah. So they start talking about family, and you can kind of see a change in expression in Nick. So like something really deep down bothered him, and then like he found out his wife committed suicide. Which, I mean, if that's a spoiler, my bad. That's pretty early on in the movie.
No, I was actually going to discuss something about that.
I don't think that's a spoiler, but we can get back to it, I guess. And then he kind of really starts to be concerned about his kids because they're in an orphanage or whatever. Then he goes and sees his kids as a part of a little bit of a, squeal deal, if you will. And then he kind of starts to, piece a little bit of reality together, thinking, hey, I need to get away from this. And so he continues working with the DA. So the DA the assistant DA, he has a presence throughout the whole movie, just simply because of Nick wanting to turn away from his life of crime just to, build a life with his family.
Yeah.
Those
100%.
poor little kids they had acting, the two girls playing the daughters.
My brain was lagging watching them at first, because like at first they were like "Hello, father," and then they turned into normal little girls. I was like, what is going on?
They could not act. And I've scoured everything. I don't think they acted in anything else because I
It's
cannot
like
find anything.
It's like they were standing in front of the camera, like
Yeah.
doing their thing, and then somebody was behind saying, "Okay, do this, do this." Like it was kind of weird at first, but like, I mean, it is what it is.
I almost wonder if they hadn't been told what movie they were in, because like I'm in The Shining, the little kid who played Danny Torrance he thought he was he thought he was in some film about family vacation.
Interesting.
And I think they did the same thing with the kid from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So I was almost like, okay, do they,
I don't know. Couldn't one argue that, like, they were kind of told to be that way? Because I mean, really, like, are you really going to be quote unquote normal around your dad that you haven't seen in a long time after, spending time in an orphanage? Like, one could argue that that's good acting. Like,
I'm not even just talking about that scene. I'm saying the entire movie. I was like, okay, they're kids. You can't expect Oscar-worthy performances out of the children.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I don't know.
That's funny. I think even the way they were saying "Hello, Father," they were very distant, and it took them a minute.
That's probably like, and then they, after that though, they got like, they turned into like normal little girls, calling calling them daddy or whatever, like a normal little girl would do. And so I chalk that up to like, okay, they've been in that orphanage for, I guess, a little while. They're taught how to be proper, if you will. So that's what I chalk that up to. So
yeah.
That romance between Bianco and I can't think of the character's name, but the woman who'd been babysitting his kids, that came out of nowhere.
What do you mean?
It was just like, okay, there was no buildup. It was like in one scene, she's visiting him for the first time. The next scene, it's like, oh, here I am. I'm kissing you now. And I'm going.
Her name is Nettie.
Nettie, thank you.
There you go.
And I'm sitting there going, I missed a few steps here.
No,
this is how it goes, bro. Like, Nick's a player. He knows what's up.
Well,
he's like the rest of it. He's like the rest of us.
Well, that's one thing I really like. That's one thing I find super interesting about older films is because they didn't have all that much time to play with. A lot of times things just get abbreviated, especially like if there was a romance in a movie, but the romance was not the focus.
Yeah, kind of like just a side plot.
Yeah.
It's but like didn't know that was going on, but good for him.
Yeah. Good for you, buddy.
You mentioned the wife though, and the suicide, and this is actually where we can get into talking about, or I can get my normal mention of the Hays Code in, because they had that scene filmed.
Her killing herself?
The assault and her killing herself.
Oh man.
So why do you think they left that out from the expert? I want to hear from the expert.
Because the Hays Code had a stroke and went, no, what are you doing?
And you're defending that Hays Code right now.
I am. Thank you. Thank you for that joke. But
hey, I'm bringing a different dynamic to the show, and I know that your viewers are going to appreciate it. So
But
we will finally get viewers.
Yeah.
No, you guys get pretty solid views if I remember looking correctly. So,
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure the Hays Code just had like a stroke and went, no, we can't do this. And I haven't read it anywhere, but I'd almost be willing to bet they sacrificed those scenes and cut the entire character of the wife out because she had an actress and everything. I've seen like one, I think, promotional image, one or on set. Anyway, pretty sure they sacrificed her so the Hays Code would not have a fit about the old lady in the wheelchair down the stairs.
I was about to make mention of that. So like, what's the standard that we have to walk here? Because can't have that, but we can show Tommy throwing a lady in a wheelchair downstairs. Like I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
that is probably what the movie is most remembered for. That's it.
Was that
For
like
sure.
was that like the first time that something like that had really been?
I don't know if it was the first time, but it was it's definitely a scene. I'm happy to inform you that they did not actually shove the old lady down the stairs. It was like one of
I'm
the
glad.
it was either like a wardrobe or a makeup one of the wardrobe or makeup ladies, her husband was the one who doubled
Okay.
for the actual scene going down the stairs.
So they threw
Okay.
someone down the stairs. It
Yes.
just wasn't an old lady.
Right.
So
That's kind of funny.
that's
Yeah.
wild because when I was watching it, I was like, that did not look like a dummy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was like, obviously it wasn't that lady, but that looked like somebody really took that fall.
Yeah.
And you're saying
I don't know.
that
I
it
wouldn't put it.
was.
I wouldn't put it past the film industry in that time because from what Ellis has shared with me about a certain movie star in that time,
Yeah.
They could be savage, yeah.
yeah, sure.
And I can't lay claim to like finding this out. I actually got this from I can't remember his name. It's Eddie Mueller, who does a Noir Alley on TCM Sunday nights, was running this, and he had said that he'd gotten this information. And so I'm kind of stealing this bit, I suppose. But yeah, no, apparently it was somebody in like the crew. Their husband took the fall and was like showing off the bruises afterwards. So he did take some major damage.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Dude,
they had to film,
that was a long flight of stairs.
and they had to film it twice.
But
Because they messed up the camera on the first attempt.
I would be so mad. I would be so mad. The thing
It's
is
like,
though, so
let's
I
beat it.
don't know. So later on in the movie, I was like, because I didn't think that killed her. Like I really didn't. And so then I found out like later on, it gets revealed that yeah, that was like a murder or whatever. And I was
Mhm.
like, man, like, what's she doing dying from that? Like, I mean, that was a long staircase, but like, you know,
Toughen up, lady.
yeah, like seriously, what are you doing? Nah, I'm just playing.
no.
May she rest in peace.
Yeah, that
In the
was-
movie and in real life, probably.
Probably.
No, like that to me, that was because you kind of get the feeling throughout the entire film that Tommy Udo is at least insane, probably very dangerous. Like you said, complete sociopath.
But he's goofy.
But that was, yeah, like you said, he's goofy, he's giggling, he's got that sort of nasal New Jersey. I don't even know what accent that is he's pulling. But that's the scene where you go, oh no, this man means business.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the scene where like so with him the first time you see him and he's like giggling in the jail cell, it's like, okay, this guy's not all there, whatever. He belongs behind bars. And then after that scene, it was like, oh, okay, yeah. I understand this character a little better.
Yeah, most people in crime are all business.
I might have been reading too much into the facial expression, but the shady lawyer, not the assistant district attorney, but
Saul Goodman.
That seems about right.
After he gets off the phone, and you see him kind of sit it down after Udo's like, yeah, no, he skipped town. Don't worry. He'll read about it in the papers. You'll read about it in the papers. You kind of, for just a second, see this horrified, haunted look on the guy's face as he's sitting the phone down. I'm like, yeah, you've unleashed this man off the city.
I wish that they would have. I wish that the movie would have given closure on what happened to him, though, because you don't really find out what happens to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of like the center hub in all of this, it seems, because he's Nick's lawyer and he's the Tommy's lawyer.
He was just as sleazy as anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a typical like movie criminal lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like,
You don't want a criminal lawyer. You want a criminal lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Jesse Pinkman said.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Anyway, no, yeah, his character was kind of. I liked his character though. Like I thought, it was pretty much played correctly on the actor's part. So yeah, I didn't get all the actor names and stuff. I don't have all that fancy behind the scenes knowledge. That's what Ellis is for. I'm just here as a body.
Sometimes Ellis doesn't have all that information either.
True.
Now, to actually, to tie it back to an actor we've talked about before, or Zach and I have talked about before on this channel, the original, Nick Bianco in this is played by the actor Victor Mature. I think I'm pronouncing that right. That was not the first choice to play the role. They'd originally approached Cagney to play.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And Cagney, I think, was on board until he took one look at the script and went, "Wait a minute, this Udo guy has the better part."
Did he want to play that character?
Or I don't know if he
Or
wanted
was
to
he
play
just
him, but
like-
it was more of like this role over here is the better of the two roles. This one you can act more in.
Okay. Yeah. That would have been interesting with Cagney.
Okay, maybe I misheard. In the movie, did they say that Bianco was 29, or did I mishear that?
I think no, yeah, I think that's true because I want to say that's right. Somebody was 29 in that movie. It might have been him. I think I heard that right. I could be wrong though.
Okay, because again, Victor Mature was in his 40s at the time of the movie.
Oh, I remember them
30s
saying that
or
now.
40s or
It
somewhere.
just came into my brain.
Yeah, 30s
And
probably.
because when they said that, I was like, 29. I wonder if he was in real life because he looks a little rough for 29.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you said he was in his 40s in real life?
Yeah, late 30s, early 40s, something around there.
Gotcha. I feel like once you get to 30, you're just old.
Easy.
Speaking from experience there, Zach.
I am.
Uh-oh. Do
Look
not
out.
get him started. Do not do it.
Age comes for us all, Cage.
Yeah. Well,
Age
I enjoyed
Not
watching.
me. I'm
film
gonna
this
look.
movie.
I'm gonna look good forever, buddy.
Let's go.
I'm just playing.
But yeah. This is the part of the episode, of course, where I'm like, okay, what now? Any other thoughts on the movie?
The dialogue. There are points where the dialogue was like really, really weird, and I don't know if that's just movies in like this time period, but there were points where like the Saul Goodman guy, that's not his name, but I'm just gonna call him that. I won't if you don't want, but so the criminal lawyer and then Nick, like they're talking or whatever, they're having like a conversation. Like it's weird how like after one finishes one sentence, literally immediately the next sentence is started, and then after a week, like, thank you for your help. Goodbye. Like,
Yeah.
okay, bro. Like, this ain't an email. Like, just say see you later or something. Like, I don't know if that's just like movies in that time, but there were times where like, and those times are few and far between. Like I said, I thought the movie was done well, but like there were times where the dialogue was just like, this is so like rehearsed. Like there's like as soon as one finishes one sentence, like they're right on to the next. I'm like, just process the statement first. Like my goodness.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't have the finesse in the dialogue like a Thin Man or like Bring Up Baby. This was not a screwball comedy where everything comes. The dialogue's just very snappy.
There's also points, and I don't know if you guys picked up on this, and I don't know if I'm just like playing too much about it, but like there are certain points where it's like I need a little bit more emotion shown in some of the dialogue. Like there's a point where like Nick and his wife are worried about Tommy coming for his family. I don't want you to worry. Please do not worry. Like
no, I thought that.
But you know,
Colleen Gray, the actress who played Nettie, was acting her heart out in this movie. She was doing amazing, considering it was her first big role too.
Yeah, I thought she did a really good job, but there was that aspect of just like the facts, only the facts, and it was like things seem pretty intense,
Mhm.
and they're
And you're
just
just
like
and you're just so just like about it. Like
yeah, yeah. Not that she didn't act well.
Mhm.
I think she did, but I did pick up on that, and that is some of this time period. I think,
Yeah.
Ellis, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I've seen is that there, unless it's certain actors like Jimmy Stewart, um, of course, Bogart, like you can tell that like, well, it appears like they're thinking through what the other person just said, and I really appreciate that. It's like, oh, they just said this to me. I'm gonna take a second. Okay, here's what I think about that. And there was parts in this movie, especially when he kept hearing noises at night, where it was like she was like, "Should I pack my bags? Pack your bags." And it was like
yeah, like I
it's
was
like you already knew she was gonna say that.
it's the cow farm. There's gonna be cows outside. One of
Yeah.
those things. Like it was just like, can you like please like no real human conversation interacts this way. And
Mhm.
if there is out there, then like let's get you in a small talk class, if you will.
Victor Mature, at least in this movie, is not. He's definitely not one you want to call on if you want like deep introspective emotion.
Mhm.
He does his job. He does it well, but like you said, it's just very clipped dialogue.
It's choppy.
Hmm.
But I'm not hating. I ain't dogging the movie. It was good, but it could be better.
Well, yeah, I would also argue, it could be better. But at that point, I don't think anybody's really paying attention to Nick Bianco because at that point, Tommy Udo, even when he's not about the point in the movie where certain things happen, they think they've gotten rid of Udo, but it turns out they haven't. His specter, his presence just hangs over the movie. Where
Yeah.
it's
Because like, where is he? What's he gonna
yeah.
do? What's his plan? The dinner scene was really weird.
Mhm.
Because he met him and I don't even Tommy's like, hey, this is a pal or
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know, trying to be Italian, but I don't
Mhm.
know what it is. But so you can tell like he's kind of mad, like
Mhm.
he's mad.
Oh yeah.
He slapped the manager of the restaurant. That was kind of funny.
Well, to me, it's part
I
of what
laughed.
makes him scary as a character is the fact that he can just turn on a dime like that.
He did that to his girlfriend earlier in the movie, and I was just like, what's your
He
problem?
straight up threatened her. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it.
He straight up threatened her life.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that whole.
The way she handled it, though,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it gave off of like, yeah, this is regular. Like,
Yeah.
so she needs to get out of that.
Yeah.
Which, safe to say that she probably has, because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's 2024 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's had time to move on.
Yeah. Anyway, it was good though.
Mhm.
All right, Ellis, what's next? Put him on the spot. Come on, start defending that Hays Code, brother.
No,
Hey, Ellis, is there any more behind the scenes stuff that you want to go into?
James Cagney.
I will say everything appeared to be straight up live action. Like I appreciated the fact that they did not use like a train station backdrop or like a fake train with sound effect. Like they used real things, which is like, that's cool. Like from what I've seen and stuff like that of the past, there's not even now, like there's not a lot of shows and movies that straight up do everything live action. Like there's going to be backdrops and props and set. Like they used, it appeared that they used like, real stuff. So that was cool, but
And
I thought so too. And like when the kids were like running up to the edge of the tracks and there's an actual train coming and the guy went up and grabbed the kids and pulled them back. Or it may have been the lady who grabbed them, but I was like, that looked real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
I was like,
that
oh,
looked like a
man.
real train coming, but it was good
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've covered just about everything I can think of. So, Zach, what would you rank this movie?
Yeah,
What
so-
would you rate this movie? My apologies.
Rating. Yeah. So we always do a 1 out of 10.
Mhm.
I'll give it an 8.
Mhm.
I love film noir.
Mhm.
I had some of the same reservations or whatever about like the dialogue, and there was definitely parts that I was just like, this is so wild. Like how did that scene with the wheelchair get through the Hays Code? I don't know how that happened, because the way he, even his demeanor
Mhm.
while he was doing that, like the Hays Code didn't like that.
Because I mean, there was a certain brutality to that scene. That,
Yeah.
like,
He's throwing an old lady down a flight of
well,
stairs.
I mean, not
I
even
was-
that.
And,
Not
she's
just-
not even like, from what I picked up on, like her son was the one that was squealing.
Yeah.
She didn't even do anything. But
Mm.
that's how crime works. Like
But I
there's
mean-
there's collateral, and once people know about that collateral
Yeah.
becomes collateral.
Well, and I
Yup.
mean, it's not even like, yeah. I mean, him pushing her down a flight of stairs was horrific enough, but like you said, his demeanor
Mm-hmm.
and just the fact, pulling that cord out of the wall and tying her to the chair. Yeah, it's a wonder that the Hays Code didn't just straight up like have a heart attack and die.
Yeah. And I was also thinking, okay, why do you need the cord?
Yeah.
She's not going
going
anywhere. No. Yeah. But yes, 8 out of 10. Super very much, big time, the best. Enjoyed it.
Mhm.
But yeah, there was just some wild scenes in it too.
I'm gonna have to give it the same. I'm gonna give it an 8. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
Mhm.
There's some things like that I would like to, I guess, change in it, like the conversationalism at times. It's not
Mhm.
that way through the whole movie. I would, and obviously, and you can't change this, especially back then, because the special effects, I guess,
Yeah.
they're not as prevalent. But like, the punches were so fake. Like
Mhm.
it was hilarious. But there again, that's just one of those things that it was just a different time period, and you just got to appreciate that, and you just got to live with it and watch it. So that's what I did. But yeah, I got to give it an 8 out of 10. Ellis, didn't you mention like a trivia thing at the end?
Oh, right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, let's go. I'm about to
so-
cook.
The very end of the film, which again, I'm not going to say any spoilers on it, but it completely, the ending of the film was not the original ending.
I figured it wasn't. It didn't seem like what was intended. Like that's I kind of went and read more on it because
Yeah.
it ended very abruptly with like a little bit of closure, but not really.
That closure, that the narration from the wife was originally not there.
Oh, really? That
Oh,
would
that
have
would've
made it
been worse.
That would have made it worse.
There was a certain. I'm trying to figure out how to talk around this. They thought the original ending of the film was way too dark, way too depressing. So they brought in. They basically, I think they may have reshot a couple of the scenes, and they brought the actress back in to give that a little voiceover at the end, which is why you don't like why it's why she says certain things, but you never see those things play out because those things were never part of it.
Gotcha.
I also find it fitting how the movie starts at Christmas time. Christmas
Mhm.
time is such a season centered on family, joy, just emotions and stuff. And so that kind of sets the stage in a way of, okay, here's what's going to play out. So
Mhm.
I find it fitting how it started at Christmas as well.
I
So
didn't even think of that. Yeah. I myself, I think, would give this probably 8 out of 10. Tommy Udo, Richard Widmark does a lot to carry this movie. I think it would be a good movie without him, but it would not be a memorable movie without him.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'd have to say the same. If you can get a good villain in a movie, like a good actor playing a villain in a movie, that will make it right there. Like look at that, The Dark Knight, for example.
Yeah.
Yep.
Zach, sort of like what we talked about with My Man Godfrey, and how every memory of that film will fade except for the Godfrey loves me, he put me in the shower. I will forget everything else about this movie except for Richard Widmark as Tommy Udo.
Yeah. Sure.
But so yeah, I'd give it about 8 out of 10. As always, ladies and gentlemen, do not take our word for it. Go out, check it out for yourself. If you disagree with our opinion, feel free to post it in the comments. And
We'll debate you.
Yeah, we will. But you know, it's
Yeah,
okay, you're allowed to-
I've listened to a few of these episodes, and yeah, you guys always say to go watch the movie, and there's times where I'm like, no. But I guess proceeding onward, I might actually just have to check out some of these because like this movie was like I enjoyed it. Obviously, when I turned on the movie, I was like, oh, black and white, oh, it's gonna suck. But it didn't. Like it was good. So it's one of those things where it's like, please branch out and get out of that complacency of like, okay, this isn't like, yeah, movies from this time are not going to pander to your desires because you didn't grow up in them. You didn't grow up like people my age, especially, and even, people y'all's age, like our movies growing up were filled with just a lot of action, a lot of, stuff that's, we enjoyed watching. And these movies seem as if they're more substance because the action and all that stuff wasn't really at their fingertips back then. So yeah. I'd recommend the listeners and the viewers to check it out.
And as always, I'm your host, Ellis Womack. That's my co-host, Zach Anderson, and our guest host, Cage Davidson.
Peace
and
out.
I have nothing but movies and time. See you later.